Podcast. We are live extra early today. Yeah, let's get into this shit. Tank Davis comes after my man Dimitri. I'm sorry, not Dimitri. Arthur Beterbiev after my man John Iceman Scully makes his comments on my podcast interview that I did about 2.5 weeks ago, and I held it for the week of the Beterbiev fight, where he basically says that I asked him a question, which was, is Gervonta Davis a Hall of Famer if he was to retire today? And which he said no. And he said it in pretty confident, like, no, he wouldn't be because of X, Y, and Z reasons, which I completely agree with. I don't believe he's fought the top of the cream of the crop fighters and whatnot. So I put out the whole interview. The interview did pretty good, you know what I'm saying? And what ended up transpiring was I ended up clipping that part of the interview and putting it out there for Twitter. I posted the interview clip on Twitter, and literally 5 minutes later, Gervonta Davis must have just rolled over and seen it and literally responds. And his response was, and I'm going to tell you right now, was this. Hold on. Let me just pull it up. His response was, it's all over Twitter right now. You can go see it on my channel. But he responded, hold on. Let me see. Where the freak is this at? Gervonta Davis blasted him. He said, that big, strong-ass goofy that he trains is not a Hall of Fame fighter, and he's ass, referencing the Beterbiev, which was crazy because Arthur Beterbiev had nothing to do with it, and not to mention he will be a Hall of Famer because he simply is the first unified light heavyweight champion since Roy Jones Jr. And he fought Dimitri Bivol, so I don't totally agree with him. Now, John didn't say anything like he wouldn't be or whatnot. He also, if you watch the interview, said in today's standards, a lot of people may view him as that, but simply based on his accomplishments, I don't see him being that. And it started bubbling on there. Dimitri ended up shooting back at Tank, basically stating, he actually took a picture of his team and it said, behind every athlete, there is a team of specialists. I am not an exception. I am not a good boxer yet. But I have a very good team. Thank you for being there. And pretty much shoots back at him. Iceman Scully came back and said, weird, he's taking offense to this. I mean, he's sensitive or whatever, but he's like a kid trying to insult people to divert attention from himself. I mean, no insult to him. He can say what he wants about us, but it doesn't change the fact that he's nowhere near Hall of Fame yet. So Iceman Scully not only responded, but he doubled down on what he believed Tank was today. And you can't be mad at an opinion. But Gervonta, jumped out the window and kind of, just responded. Now, I was talking to my boy Brad about this, and I was kind of like wondering like why was he so mad? And Brad said something that was interesting. He's like, yo, I was like, the truth hurts. He goes, you can be mad even if something's true. You're gonna be mad. And Gervonta, again, guys, this was based upon a question that I've seen a lot of people. This is before he announced the Lamont Roach fight. And a lot of people were very, very not excited, very upset that Gervonta is now taking Lamont Roach, 130-pound champion. I don't know if he's coming up to 135 or whatnot, but he did the same thing for Santa Cruz, who, yes, he was a good fighter, but you also bring him up. And there's still guys that you could have fought at that 135 that we wanted to see, whether it be Shakur, whether it be Devin Haney, whether it had been Teofimo Lopez. People want to see Tank be great. And I think that's the big thing here. And it's not necessarily hate. We want to see how great Tank is. But, it almost comes across as if, and again, coming from Baltimore, coming from a poor city, coming from growing up, maybe not having it all, you don't want to take that loss. And I think a lot of these fighters feel like if they take that L, because of what people look at as the Mayweather branding, or maybe because he came on the Mayweather, that the money would stop. Devin Haney took a serious loss to Ryan Garcia, even though he's technically doesn't have a loss anymore. It's affected his financial gain. Maybe that's what it is with Tank, but the fans don't care about how much money he has. You know what I'm saying? And they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. But Tank does, and he should. But it hurts boxing simply because we don't ever get to see him versus the best of the best. And not only that, you're charging a lot of the fans $80, $90 for these fights. And that's a problem. I would love to see him fight Teofimo. I would love to see him fight Lomachenko. I would have loved to have seen him fight. And a lot of people say, oh, well, Loma backed out. Loma doesn't seem like he wants to deal with the politics of boxing. But we want to see this. A lot of people, say Tank is making excuses. Oh, this guy's too big. I can't do this. But you went up to fight, what's this guy's name? I always forget his name. But there's guys that we want to see you fight. I'd like to see him fight a Josh Taylor, a Teofimo Lopez. That's the fight I want to see. Teofimo. I think, listen, if he would go out there and beat Teofimo Lopez, I'd give him all the credit in the world. People still put him as a top pound for pound fighter. I don't, simply because you got to beat the elite. In fact, I just released a pound for pound list that I released on Twitter. You guys can go check it at StreetStar NORBE. And Tank's not on my top 10. He isn't on my top 10. Now, I'm not saying Tank's not a great fighter. I'm not saying Tank is not a great talent. But what I am saying is this. As a fan of boxing who've been following it for the longest, his biggest fight to date is Ryan Garcia, who he drained down to 135 in order to take the fight. How do I feel about that fight? And I'm going to be real. I thought Ryan had a good opportunity to beat him. I felt like Ryan had the skill set, but mentally I know he wasn't there, and I know Tank didn't know. Tank is a very, very intelligent fighter. Okay, Tank knows his strengths and he also knows his weaknesses, and Tank doesn't take these big risks. But eventually, people are going to get tired of it. They are, and people are, and they're voicing their opinions of it. As much as people want to hate on Canelo or hate on Canelo fights who he fights. Yeah, he hasn't fought Benavidez, but he's fighting champions in his division. He's unified in his division. Usyk has unified in his division. Arthur Beterbiev has unified all the belts in his division. That's what we expect from Tank Davis. Tank Davis is great. He's a great talent. You should have those accolades. And that's what the Hall of Fame is. Now, if you want to be in the Forbes list, you don't need this. You need to continue to make money. But if you want your peers, if you want your community to view you as that guy, you got to have the accolades. Even with Floyd, he beat De La Hoya. He was unified. I don't know if he unified. The last unified was actually Zab. But he beat Zab. He fought guys like Cotto. He beat Shane Mosley. Fought Manny Pacquiao. If Gervonta were to stop today, what's the legacy fight that we're gonna have? Ryan Garcia? That's the legacy fight? Gamboa? And I think that's where the fans and the disconnect is. And again, we do believe that Tank, and a lot of people believe that Tank can beat all these individuals, but it hasn't been seen to be. It hasn't been done. I got a guy in my inbox, my guy K out in California, and he's telling me how great he is. And I'm sitting there like, dude, he hasn't fought anybody yet. Like, to at his level, we'll be like, yo, let's get it in. I would love to see him fight Haney. I would love to see him fight some of these guys. And it's just not happening, and we're all questioning as to why. So for John Scully to respectfully say, no, not at this moment, but he has time to do it, and to get offended, this is something that clearly bothers Tank. But what is he going to do about it? Is he going to go out and seek a fight with a Teofimo Lopez, which I think is a very dangerous fight? In fact, I might come off as a hater, but I think Teofimo beats him. I just do. People, listen, Tank is really loved out there. Like, this man is absolutely adored within the boxing community. Some people call him the face of boxing. Some people say he's the best pound for pound. I've seen all of these comments, and I sit there, and I'm like, what are you actually basing this off of? You know, people kill Canelo all the time, but he went up to 175 to fight a much bigger man in Dmitry Bivol. And guess what? It didn't hurt his stock. It didn't hurt his checks. In fact, he's still getting 80% of the door and still getting over 40 million to fight in fights. Now, again, does Gervonta have that type of fan base? Is his fan base based upon the fact that he has an O? Maybe that's what he believes. Maybe Tank believes if Tank were to lose a fight, that fan base would leave with him. He would not be that guy. Maybe that's what it is. And if that's the case, it's sad. You know what I mean? It's sad. And listen, to respond so fast, it definitely hit a nerve. And John was not disrespectful in any regard. Nobody was. You know what I mean? It's just something that I felt like had to be asked because it was up in the air about you fighting Lamont Roach. And at the time when I asked the question, that was the rumor that fight was going to get locked in. So that's the only reason I brought it up. And not to mention, Tank is one of the biggest faces in boxing, if not the second or third biggest face in boxing. He's definitely the second. Definitely. I don't think there's anybody else bigger. But these are things that people, you know, are asking from Tank. They want to see greatness. They want to see him meet and beat somebody that people believe can actually beat him. We don't want to see, and no disrespect to Rolly, we don't want to see Rolly Romero versus Tank. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to see a Ryan Garcia versus Tank at this point. And I feel like a lot of people are fed up with it. It just is what it is. When are we going to get Tank to fight one of these individuals? I mean, listen, I'm talking all this shit because I'm going to be tuned in when he ends up going to fight Lamont Roach. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am definitely gonna watch it. Now, am I going to pay for that? Is another question, because at the end of the day, probably wait to catch the highlights later or go to somebody's house and give them some money for it. To be honest with you, it's not a fight that I'm super excited, and it's nothing against Lamont Roach, but it's not what we want to see. It isn't. But I will be tuned in because I am a boxing fan. I totally am. But I will say this, the fact that this man was upset, and shout out to Michael Benson for posting it. A lot of other bloggers posted it, even though they didn't post a goddamn interview clip that it was from or reference it from. It's cool. I'm going to get up there with y'all soon. But anyways, we just want to see Tank fight a great fight, man. That's what we want to see, man. And, you know, John spoke on his feelings, and he's not the only person that feels that way. There's a lot of people that feel that way in regards to Tank. Now, are they wrong? Are they haters because this is how they feel? No, but that's just what it is. And I think right now is the time for Tank to go out there and be great. Be great. Go out and fight a Devin Haney, even though I don't think Devin Haney fight to be big, but at least if he was fight Teofimo is something that I would love to see. Teofimo constantly goes out there, goes looking for the big fights, and I think that would be it. I think if he beats Teofimo, I think a lot of people would give him a whole lot more credit than what he's getting now. To be honest with you, I think he beats Teofimo, beats Devin Haney. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Listen, Teofimo, I think, you know, what is he, two-time lineal world champion at 135 and 140 pounds? I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. So, to me, I think if Tank goes out there and beats him, it'd be something noteworthy where he could hang his hat on, okay? Beating Lamont Roach is not going to get you that at this point. Anyways, moving forward, Clapback Thursday was yesterday, and it was hilarious.
The facts and makes you laugh. It's Clapback Thursdays, motherfucker.
Clapback Thursdays.
All right, we took a week off since news was slow, but this week is a whole different story. This is long overdue, but I had to get the legal facts. A few weeks ago, the Haneys filed a lawsuit in the state of New York against my fighter, Ryan Garcia, for battery battery,
Yep.
fraud,
Battery.
and breach of contract. The Haneys also named my company Golden Boy Promotions in the lawsuit because they want a full accounting of Devin's fight against Ryan. In other words, they want to see my book. They don't believe the fact that Garcia Haney only did a little over 300,000 homes.
True.
And they've been paid what they are owed. They want more money that doesn't exist. Number one, Bill, we live in the same fancy neighborhood in Henderson. You could have knocked on my door and simply asked to see my book. We have told you over and over that this fight.
So, anyways, Clapback Thursday was hilarious. Shout out to Oscar De La Hoya. I think that's one of the best segments in boxing. Period. It's hilarious. He said Lamont Roach fight just a tune-up. Man, he's been fighting tune-ups for the last like 6 years, man. Come on, stop it. But anyways, in that he references the De La Hoya. Go check it out on Oscar De La Hoya's page. He mentions the lawsuit that's going down against Golden Boy as well as Ryan Garcia. And basically, he mocks the situation for battery and says, this is what you guys do for a living, blah, blah, blah. Suing to see the books of that fight because they feel like they did not get what they deserve. Oscar's claims are pretty much that they've been paid everything. The fight just didn't sell. It did not sell. I think he said it sold something near of 300,000 buys. The Haneys feel like he's lying. Even Ryan Garcia kind of called him out on that, but Ryan has cooled off on that stance. But again, guys, this is a legit lawsuit. Bill Haney came out and stated that he is going to be pursuing this and nothing's going to change it until it's handled. Now, again, from both sides, listen, it's very odd to me, and this is something that Oscar did not actually address, that Golden Boy got paid $1.2 million for Ryan admitting that he was guilty in the suspension, which to this day, I don't understand as to why. Nobody ever explained why Oscar got $1.2 million, why Golden Boy actually got $1.2 million off of the fight. Now, in regards to what it sold, I don't know. Listen, if Oscar's going to really voluntarily open his books, most companies won't. But I don't see a situation where Oscar would be lying about how much it actually sold. To be honest, the Devin Haney is not a big seller. Ryan is a little bit more of a big seller, but his biggest claim to fame was when he fought Gervonta, and we all know Gervonta moves the needle when it comes to that. And Gervonta versus Ryan was a big matchup. This is the first time that Gervonta was fighting someone that people viewed as an actual threat. One of the four horsemen, as my guy Marco Boxing likes to call him, was involved in the matchup, and he fought him and beat him and made it stop it. So that was a completely different situation. Haney, on the other hand, is not the draw of Tank, nowhere near it, and in that situation. Now, the one thing he did forget to mention was Oscar. What he's also suing for punitive damages and unjust enrichment. Now, unjust enrichment is basically him stating that the Haneys are losing money, and Ryan Garcia, because of what transpired in that fight, are now unjustly gaining money off of the situation, and they cheated, and they came out. Now, he downplays the whole Osterin thing. He was even the professionals are saying that much Osterin wouldn't have affected the fight. Stop right there, because there's no way to gauge that. And at the end of the day, cheating is cheating is cheating. And when you run cycles, not everything comes out in the rinse. You know what I'm saying? So in the wash, whatever. So I don't agree with that. I understand him downplaying it because at the end of the day, this is a serious situation. And at the end of the day, whether Oscar wants to admit it or not, he cheated. It is what it is. So the Haneys definitely have a case, and the punitive damages are basically the losses of the opportunities that moving forward that Mr. Haney and his son are now not having. So this is a legit situation. This is a legit case. I do believe that it will be handled. I think it will be handled if they agree to terms on a rematch, because Haney will be preparing himself to fight him. And I don't think Oscar and Camp would agree to a fight unless the lawsuit was dropped. So I do believe that this will not go all the way, but it could go all the way if Oscar De La Hoya, actually if Golden Boy and Haney cannot come up with an agreement in regards to a fight maybe in June. Now, again, it's going to be a situation where I think the money is where it's going to confuse things. What's the value of this fight? This fight definitely will be bigger than the first because of everything that's transpired. So I do believe that this fight can be slowed up simply because of greed and how much each party should split in this situation. I think the last time, I want to take a guess and say it was 55 to 45 split in regards to pay-per-view, rent-a-view, and per split. But in this one, the rematch should be a lot bigger in regards to the eyes that are on this situation. Yes, it's been a mockery. Yes, it's been just negative press everywhere. But a lot of times, press is press, and promotion is hard to come by. And this is a situation where maybe this fight is that valuable. Now, that's the only thing that I think could hold this thing up. And that would make the lawsuit go away. Now, if they cannot come to an agreement, that lawsuit will continue to cost Ryan and Golden Boy and the Haneys money simply because it's continuing. But I do believe this will be handled in that manner. And if they come to an agreement, that's what will transpire. The mailman, my guy, always on. Shout out to you. You think Haney makes more of the lawsuit or a rematch? Excuse me. Or you think he can get both the lawsuit and the rematch? The lawsuit is gonna take years. It's not so okay, guys. When you're in a lawsuit, it doesn't work like, yo, he's gonna be rewarded in 6 months. Like by the time that lawsuit is done, it'll be like 3-4 years, maybe longer. These guys got a lot of money. It's just there's a long process to this. There's depositions. There's going to be filings to open the books. There's going to be denials, and they don't think it should be open. It's going to be a bunch of different things that are just going to cost a whole lot of money. The cheaper solution for both parties is to come into the situation and come to terms with a per split, with a guarantee of the case being dropped. Now, it does two things for the Haneys. If he gets that, he's going to get more money, of course, in regards to the fight. And Devin gets a chance to basically to prove that the reason he lost was because of the performance-enhancing drugs. Okay, so he gets that out of the situation, and that'll be big. Ryan can then say, look, I beat him and I didn't need this, and he gets a check. I never cheated. Now, it's going to be a rigorous, what's it called? Drug testing because of how popular this case was. Anarchy Deuces, I really don't think anyone wants to see the fight and get more views. Haney talked too much. I don't agree with that. I think a lot of people definitely want to see the fight. I think a lot of people want to see Haney either attempt to go back or even Haney get knocked out again and be like, oh, look, it had nothing to do with no drugs. He didn't test positive. He didn't do this. So I definitely disagree with you, Anarchy, in that situation. I think a lot of people, including yourself, would be tuned in to this fight if it were to happen. I definitely believe it will happen. And I do believe it'll be Ryan's next professional fight. And I do believe it. I don't think Haney takes another fight until then. So I think that, listen, lawsuits cost a lot of money. Like I'm talking about a shitload of money, okay? And I think it's in the best interest of both parties to just come to an agreement of the fight with the drug testing, with everything. And Ryan's gonna have to go in there and make a certain weight. There's gonna be a lot of stipulations. This is the weight. This is what it is. This is what you can't go over. And I think Ryan's camp is also gonna put a lot of stipulations in there because Devin Haney comes in over the weight limit. You're only supposed to gain 10% of your weight, and he showed up 25 pounds over. So I think there's going to be a lot of little intricacies like that are going to hold up this fight. But I do believe this is the this is the best situation in regardless to this fight. Hyman says, of course, people want to see the fight. Everyone loves a story that builds into a super fight. Absolutely. This is the biggest opportunity for both of these guys, including Devin Haney. This is the biggest thing Devin Haney can be a part of at this point. You know what I mean? There isn't a bigger fight for Haney unless he gets Gervonta. And most people don't believe he can beat a Gervonta. But even if he does go out and fight a Gervonta, this is going to be looming over his head, the Ryan Garcia situation. So I believe he has to fight Ryan Garcia. He has to defeat Ryan Garcia to get back to where he was. And that's the only way people are going to sit there and believe that Ryan Garcia did cheat in that fight. And it's just being honest, like for real. Or they can just wait in court and lose money, as much money as possible. He better eat his spinach, but Ryan whooping that arse again. We're going to see. Listen, I got Ryan winning again, of course. But again, we're not going to act like Devin's not a good fighter. Haney-Ryan rematch would be huge right now. Absolutely, man. I mean, it would definitely be the biggest fight for both parties at this point. There's just too much controversy going on. There's too much things that, that can benefit. And you got to think about it. A lawsuit, you're going to lose money. You're going to continue to lose money and not gain any money in the situation. And it looks bad to the public. It looks bad. All the dirty laundries come out. Oscar De La Hoya is not going to want to have to open his books to the public. He's not going to want to have to be deposed. Depositions cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. Okay? You're just going to be pumping out money that doesn't need to be pumped out. When you guys just come to a situation where you get the fight going and move forward. Okay? So to me, I think it's going to happen. I think this is also a good play by Bill Haney to kind of corner De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia into doing the fight because of the legal situation. Nobody wants to continue to pay law. Listen, I don't care how much money you have. Nobody wants to pay lawyer fees, especially when you could be making money and not losing them. And again, you got to look at the situation to where it's beneficial. There's money to be made. Millions. This fight is a lot bigger than the first one. He got paid a couple $100,000 for that weight, but still, I think it'll definitely be stipulations in that anarchy. We have Noah's. I didn't know you started a box channel battle rap, bro. Hey, thank you. Nah, yeah, man, we out here getting that right now. I went viral yesterday with the Gervonta shit. Shout out to Gervonta Davis. But again, guys, I think the fight's going to happen. Again, I think Bill Haney pulled this lawsuit in order to corner Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya so they can't go out. I mean, they could go out and get another fight, but you would still have this lawsuit looming over your head. And, nobody wants to be involved in this lawsuit. So, again, my predictions is this fight will happen. Moving forward, Chris Colbert on I think it's Box TV, but I forgot what it's called. Sorry about. Shout out to Paulie Maldonado on Pro Box TV. Fought Wednesday night. Okay, let me just pull up the fight. Hold on real quick. I forgot the guy he fought. I don't want to disrespect the guy, but he fought Wednesday night.
Plays last war. It's the new top.
I watched the fight, and pretty much Chris Colbert got, let me just pull this thing. Chris Colbert for Omar Super Salcido. Okay, he fought him Wednesday night fights on Pro Box TV. You can go watch it on YouTube right now. It has 40,350 views. As we all know, Chris Colbert suffered a big loss to Rayo recently where he was knocked out cold and had a viral moment in there where he was telling his corner was instructing him to do things, and Chris Colbert decided to say, I got this, watch, I got this, and proceeded to get KO'd. Now, I will tell you this. There was definitely in this fight, which there was a lot of the Rayo fight in this fight, and this is what I mean. That moment went viral of him not listening to his coach and this shit going. So we have to question the relationship. In fact, he was supposed to fight on my guy Okoye's card in Philadelphia where Gilly was hosting the Wallow. And for some reason, backed out of that fight. I don't know the gist of that, but backed out of that fight. And I remember I followed Chris actually on social media on Instagram, and I was watching him on a live, and he was at the pool hanging out, and he kind of looked overweight. And I was like, dang, he's 2 weeks away from the fight. And I was just like, he doesn't look focused. Something's going on. Now, fast forward, he ends up taking the fight on Pro Box against Salido. And I watched the whole fight. It was 9 rounds yesterday. And 3 of his last 4 performances have not been that good, okay? And you could tell there's turmoil within the camp, between his coach and whatever. So fast forward, he gets knocked out by Rayo. Boom, now he's taking this fight. He's out there. He kind of looks flat-footed in the beginning. His coach keep telling him stay off the ropes. He's usually in the middle of the ring. He was doing okay. Come about the 6th round, he starts taking some shots. He took one left hook that kind of left him. You could tell, like, oh, okay, whatever. And his coach is screaming at him. I want to say from the 5th round. I could be off. Telling him, if you don't show me something, I'm going to stop the fight. Now, at this point, Chris Colbert was never really seriously hurt. He did take a shot, and you could tell whatever. He wobbled back a little bit, but he didn't stop. I don't think it was worth him telling him that. And it seemed like his coach Sosa was very agitated with him in this fight, and continued to remind him after the rounds that he would stop the fight and he would show him nothing. So, Chris like, all right, whatever. He's fighting the fight. Doesn't necessarily ever seriously get hurt in this fight. 7th round, I think 7th or 8th round, takes a shot, boom, rocks on another left. But he's on the ropes, and he keeps telling him, you got to do better. You got to show me more. You got to be in the middle of the ring. Like, it's almost like a son not listening to a father situation, and the father just get agitated, like, yo, if you're not going to listen, I'm done with this. That's kind of what it came off of. And I remember that the trainers, actually not the trainers, the analysts, Paulie and I think Algieri, and I know Paulie knows Chris is from Brooklyn, and I think Algieri's from like Long Island, and you could tell they have like a relationship with Chris and whatnot. And the 9th round comes, and no shots, no heavy shots are landed, not really necessarily. That I'd be like, oh, whatever. And they throw in the towel. Now, Pro Box analysts are saying, well, he stopped the fight. He loves this kid. He didn't want to see him get hurt. This is where I'm confused at this point. I'm watching this, and I don't see where this fight should be stopped. I don't think he's hurt. It almost felt as if Sosa, I think that's his name, no disrespect if it's not his name, was just agitated with him. Like, yo, bro, like, you're not listening to me. And the reason I bring that up is because the last fight, he didn't listen to him and got knocked out. And you can tell something's been going on between those 2 individuals. And he stops the fight kind of prematurely. Yo, that's it, I'm done. He's not listening. That's what it seemed like. He's not listening. That's it. And protected him from possibly getting another vicious knockout. Maybe he's thinking, let me save this kid now before he takes another loss where he's completely done for his career. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Okay. But I don't see a situation where he comes back from this. Like, it almost seems as if, like, something's been going on behind the scenes between the individuals. I follow Chris on Instagram, and I've noticed a lot of posts about his mental health and how he's been feeling. And it almost seems like he doesn't want to do this anymore. And I think this is a combination of all of those things, because there was never a moment where I was like, damn, he's about to die in this ring, or he's getting pummeled in this situation. I do believe that Chris probably would have gotten stopped in this fight because of the rope situation, but I don't know if Sosa could have stomached another devastating loss like that, maybe to his reputation, maybe to Chris's reputation. And watching that, and watching how Chris, I've been watching Chris's career since the beginning, how he was to what he was that night, it almost seems like Chris doesn't want to do this anymore. And that is the most dangerous situation I think a fighter could put himself in, when he does not want to do this anymore. And I wanted to bring that up because, I think a lot of fighters put pressure on themselves. And watching Chris's Instagrams and stuff like that, you could kind of see that a lot of the pressure that he's actually kind of put upon himself, calling himself primetime, right? When you call yourself primetime, you're literally naming yourself off of a legend that lived off of the lights. You're embracing the lights, but now the lights are becoming too hot. And it seems like you can't handle that. Hanging out with celebrities, and now all of a sudden, maybe they're not returning your phone calls no more. These are things that transpire when people don't view you as that guy anymore. And maybe these are the things that are affecting him. And maybe those are the things that are going on between his camp and him at this point. And maybe you were just caught up with other stuff and not taking it serious. I know he has a podcast out now. You know what I mean? He's trying to make that successful. Maybe they believe that he's not there. I've heard rumors of him not wanting to do road work between people that we all know. I don't know what it is, but it was just a very awkward stoppage in that fight. And to me, it seemed like it was building and building over time. And again, we have to figure out, is Chris going to continue to do this? Is Chris motivated to do this? Does he have the confidence to do this? Will he switch trainers in this situation? I don't know. But it almost seems like his camp was very fed up with him and just said, hey, that's it. It's over. He's not listening. This fight is over. So did Chris quit, or did his corner quit on him? And I think that's the question that we have to ask at this point. Now, again, I could be completely off. But Chris Colbert either is completely done right now, or his trainers are completely done with him. And I think it's been building over the last 3 fights. And again, sometimes people may say, oh, these guys feeling themselves too much. I can't tell them what to do. It's a different person right now. And people do become different. You become more famous. You've been doing certain things, you're doing shit. Maybe, just maybe, you're not that same hungry guy at one point, and you don't want to see somebody get hurt. So I did watch that, and that's kind of what I got out of that. And that's just me watching everything that's transpiring. Is Coach done with him? Can Chris Colbert come back from this? I don't know. I don't believe he can. I'm just being honest with you. Not with the current situation. I think Chris is very talented. I think Chris has all of the attributes that can make him a world champion. But maybe the situation that he's in right now is not the best situation. And that's not a knock at his coach. But it might be time for a change, a culture change. Maybe go with somebody else. Maybe just get away from the people that you're around right now. Not worry so much maybe about being around these celebrities, because they don't care about you. They don't care about you, Chris. That's just being real. They care about you when you're up. But when you're down and you look around, there's nobody there. They're not there no more. So to me, I think the Chris Colbert situation has more to do with other things that don't have anything to do pertaining boxing at this point. So we're going to see what happens. But is Chris Colbert done? It might look like that right now. On that note, it's your boy Norbs. This is a 10A podcast. And wait. Now, hold on. Somebody asked about, what do you think about Spencer Fundora when you get a chance? Of course, this could be a side topic. I know the situation's weird. I'm not a big Fundora fan. I am interested to see how Spence bounces back from the big loss that he took against Terrence Crawford. Does he still got it in him? Is he done? These are the questions that everybody's asking. Fundora's a champion. He's not taking any nights off right now. He's not taking anything light. He's fighting somebody that's legit. It's a big guy. So I want to see how he does that. I don't know. I mean, listen, Errol is a very talented individual. Does he still have what it takes? There's a lot of turmoil. He left his trainers. I think this is his first fight without his trainer. Is he going to be a different Spence? These are questions to that. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like Errol Spence as a fighter. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's one of the best to ever do it. But does he still have it? Is it still in him? We're going to find out very soon. You know what I mean? So looking forward to that. On that note, shout out to everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody that's going to retweet this. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button. Follow me on all social medias at StreetStarNORBE. On TikTok, I'm at StreetStarNORBE1. And it's it. It's your boy. I'm out of here.